order, a few minutes after 6. First on the agenda, are there any changes or additions there?
Yes, there are. If you would please remove the TAC appointment, Transportation Advisory Committee appointment. Number 5. And
Yeah.
add on a fireworks permit for 4th of July.
Okay.
So we're taking off number 5. Is that what you said?
Number 5.
Yes, please.
Okay. Next, approve the minutes. Do I hear a motion regarding
I
that?
move that we approve the minutes from June 6, 2022.
Second.
I have a motion by Jess and a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion on these minutes?
I have a question on number 4. Just, I don't remember, that's all. It says Jess Graham made a motion to appoint, and it's a list of names, and your name is the last one on the list. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
Okay.
It is true.
Did we
She asked if it was
talk about-
okay to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember.
Well, I wasn't sure whether it
Yeah.
was or not. I read it.
Yeah.
One of those I've ever had.
Yeah, I remember you
happen.
asked me, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's okay.
Caught my attention too, but I think we did talk about it. We said it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes passed. Do we have any liquor control tonight? Perfect. Moving to new business, number 1. Let's do that fireworks permit. Or is Denny coming or is just you,
Yeah, I
Jason?
will not be here tonight.
Okay, Jason's here, right? Here. All right. Let's do that permit.
The fireworks permit is actually
You've got it right there.
down. Morristown.
Yeah.
For 4th of July. The fireworks company needs to have a signed permit from the town in order to fulfill their paperwork requirements. You know, it shows.
Is it the same company?
It is Northstar, yeah, we have a contract with them. Last summer we talked about this, you know, only the prices, but in order for us to reserve them for the 4th of July, they're premium ones.
Do you need a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
I have a motion by Brian. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Don. Any further discussion?
Do we have the new price and the difference, just out of curiosity?
That's what we paid last, we've already paid it.
Oh, we've already paid it. Oh. It didn't.
Pay it like in July
Right.
for the following.
For the following
year.
year.
Yeah, I remember that. It was okay. I remember that discussion,
Yeah.
and it hasn't gone up since then.
It is
No.
not coming.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it, like everything else that went up. Okay.
I
Okay.
did want to add to that, authorize Bob to sign it.
Okay.
That's all we need, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Denny has to sign it as well.
I think Denny's already signed it, right?
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is passed. Next, number 2, sign annual financial management questionnaire.
Number 1. Number 1.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I jumped that, I don't know why. Yeah, number 1, approved tax anticipation note. Keep you on your toes.
So I sent out 4 bids, and in the packet, there were 2 pages, ignore that. The second page was Wester stuff.
Okay.
It was probably really confusing.
So ignore this little piece.
Yeah, ignore
Okay.
that one. It's
Okay.
just this one that
Okay.
we're looking
Okay.
at. So I recommend that we go with the union. So I asked for 4 bids, I only got 3 back. I recommend that we go with the Union Bank, who we've been doing tax anticipation notes with for as long as I've worked for the town. They have a different system than the other banks where they allow us to borrow the money as a municipality and then put it in a type of bank account where they pay us interest on it. So we pay interest, but then we make more interest than what we pay. So in the end, that it's anticipated we'll make over $16,000 in interest
Wow.
by borrowing this money. It's a system we've always used. Community National Bank has a system that's slightly similar, but they only pay, they don't pay on the full amount in the account, they'll only pay on a certain amount. So their anticipated interest that you will earn is 1,600 versus 16,000. And then Community Bank doesn't offer that system, so that would cost us 50,000 to borrow the money from them. So I have two recommendations. One is to go with the Union Bank, and then two is to name the Union Bank. I don't know where.
There's a motion to sole source vendor is what it's called.
Because we do this every year and nothing ever compares to what the Union Bank offers. So until they stop offering this or another bank offers a similar service, it just feels like a waste of time to ask for all these bids when they don't compare.
I'll make a motion. We use the Union Bank as our sole source vendor for borrowing in anticipation of taxes.
I had a motion by Don and a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion on this?
Is there any contingency built in to say we could change Union Bank as a sole source vendor if that policy changed? Do we need to say that in the motion or?
And you don't need to, you just
Okay.
come back and make another motion that you're gonna go with somebody else.
Okay, and then you all would come to us and tell us about that. Okay, sounds good.
All right, any
Seems
further
like-
discussion?
Seems like a no-brainer.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed.
So then I need a second motion to actually accept the Union Bank for this year, or whoever, that's my recommendation, whichever bank you would like.
Right, okay.
So you need a motion for,
To approve the Union Bank's tax anticipation. No, for the 2020 fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Because what the original motion was to,
Just make them the sole source provider going forward.
so we need a separate motion for this tax anticipation.
so we need a motion to use the Union Bank as, for the 22-23 year,
Accept their
fiscal
bid.
year. I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from the Union Bank for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Motion by Don and a second by Brian. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is passed. Number 2, sign annual financial management questionnaire.
So this is a questionnaire that I'm required by state statute to fill out every year. And the auditors look for it. It's just to open dialogue between the board and myself as the treasurer about financial management in the town. Nothing has changed from last year.
Make a motion, we approve it and authorize Bob to sign it.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Don. Any further discussion on this?
So you said this questionnaire hasn't changed? It's the same as,
It's been the same for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it changed a little bit, but not much when Mary Ann retired.
Yeah,
Just
for a while.
But not much.
Okay.
so is there any reason for select board members to attend trainings? I know
That
some,
would be a great question for the auditor, but I mean, if you don't know how to you all have different backgrounds and I don't know, so I'm not saying that you don't, but if you didn't know how to read financial statements,
Right.
if you didn't know how to plan budgets, if you didn't know how to do investments.
I'm offering a class, but reading your financials 101, if anybody is interested, I'd be glad to go through that. I've done it with the highway so far, and I'd like to get so that I can do it with everybody so they understand it. if you're interested at all, let me know, I'll be glad to make some time to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you,
one.
Tina.
Thank you.
How long would it be?
Probably about a half hour, it's
Okay.
nothing too complicated, but, you know, then you could ask questions and, you know, see how the planned budget goes against what you're actually spending.
Right, okay.
And even, most municipalities, we use NEMRIC, which is a very specialized software for municipalities. Before this, and when I've done volunteer for nonprofits, like I've used QuickBooks, just reading the reports that come out of NEMRIC versus the ones that come out of QuickBooks, they're so different. It's the same information, but the format's so different to visualize.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed.
So I have to leave, so can I put in one more plug quick before I leave?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just say that I'm supposed to have the ballots on Friday for the primary, so if anybody would like an absentee ballot, contact us because they're not gonna be automatically mailed.
Okay.
Great.
But
Thanks, Sarah.
if people do request it, they will be mailed?
Yeah, it's just on an individual basis versus a mass mailing to everybody.
And they should call you. We should
They
call.
can call,
Okay.
they can email us, they can fax us, if people do that.
And by Friday.
No,
No, sorry.
just as of Friday. They have, the primary is August 9th, which is a Tuesday, you have till August 8th to request one.
Oh.
I'll just have them, by
Oh,
state statute, on Friday. You can request at any point.
okay.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, discuss and approve private road name.
This is John and Mary Roney requesting a road name. This is a new development. We will now have 3 homes on it, so they are required by our zoning bylaws to name the road. And this is from the 1155 Randolph Road location. Windy Knoll Lane is their first choice.
Does any conflict with the 911
So,
system? All right, do I hear a motion regarding this?
I make a motion to approve the road naming of, approve the new road name Windy Knoll Lane
And have me sign it.
and have authorized Bob Beeman to sign.
A second.
I have a motion by Jess and a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion's passed. Next, appoint LCPC board members.
So annually, the board member positions come on due first of July. And Judy has indicated she'd like to continue as one of the directors from Morristown. Brent Marie is the second director. I have not had conversation with Brent about the position. He's been serving in it since last September, but I need to have a conversation with him. If he is not going to continue, he's missed about half a week. So I think at this point, it would probably be prudent for me to look at the list that we capture Judy maintains. We have 2 names on there, and a third person has come forward with interest for the position, vacant seat. So we're gonna reach out to them to see if any of them are interested. Any of the others are interested. I know I have 1 person interested. The other 2 that are on the list, I have not made contact with to see if they're interested in the LCPC board position. And if there are more than 1 applicant, then I'll bring them in front of you at the next board meeting.
Okay.
So that you folks have a chance to talk to them. And then you folks can decide which one would be your choice.
Would they come and interview with us regardless, or only if there's more than one?
Only if there was more than 1. If there's only 1 person interested so the names we get on the list back here are for any of the sporting boards. So, you know, I have an opening on a board here or a question of whether or not somebody is still interested in continuing to serve. That's why I would go to the list and bring those names forward.
So should we just appoint Judy for now? 'Cause
That's
we
what I
know,
would recommend, is just appoint Judy for now. She's a definite. She attends all the meetings. And we'll deal with the other one at the next meeting.
Okay.
Is this for 1, 2, 3 years?
We've always done it for 1-year terms.
Okay.
Oh, Brent, I just asked Brent, he says, I'd like to if they ever send me a Zoom link.
Well, okay.
So, must be he has a problem communicating or getting on. We can give him a lesson.
Are we still in discussion phase of this?
Sure.
I feel that I would be interested to know, even if there is just one person interested in the board, just because, just to give the opportunity to ask questions, like we did with John Mayer, to see if there's, any potential conflicts or, that sort of thing. I think it'd be important.
So,
Or is it?
just so I understand, so if there's only one person that's interested, I would still have them come here.
Oh, you would? Oh,
Yeah. I
okay.
mean, so the LCPC
Yeah,
board, my view on it is a little different than planning or DRB.
Mm-hmm.
Planning and DRB certainly are appointing positions by you folks. But LCPC and the relationship there, in my view, is one where they are representatives of the board's view moving forward. The planning council and DRB, they have the ability to independently review information as a citizen or a member of those committees. The representatives to LCPC are there to deliver the select board's message for the direction of the town, if that makes sense. So it's not talking heads, certainly they're independent thinkers. But if the board have the mindset of, I can't even think of a good example, but of the direction of development in town is one thing, but a board member at LCPC is contrary to what you are representing from the select board's chair. It's a kind of a conflict, and that's hard for LCPC to sit and know that it may be anyway, I think it's important. I guess my point is important for you folks to do an interview.
Yeah.
Even if there's only one candidate
Yeah.
going forward, you have that opportunity, like you said, to vet them to see where they're at, see what their thought processes are.
Yeah, I see it as a communication conduit, to us.
Yes.
And it's a conduit we haven't always had,
Right.
and we haven't always had in good standing because when previous people served in that role, it was at times adversarial,
I've heard a little bit about
and
that.
it's important for us to not have that situation. And I know Judy's done a great job with that, and serves really well. And I don't know about Brett, maybe he does too, but certainly not if he can't tune in. But I see it as a really important role, and to give us feedback of what's going on, and the feeling,
Right.
I would like the chance just to ask them why they want to be on the board. What's their motivation?
Right. And I know Judy's.
Well, we know hers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So you want to just hold off on the second one?
Yes, please. If we can appoint Judy tonight, we'll come back next meeting for the second.
Okay, do I hear a motion regarding that?
I make the motion to appoint Judy Bickford to the LCPC board for a term of 1 year.
Second.
I have a motion by Jess and a second by Brian. Is there further discussion on this? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is passed. Next, appoint town health officer.
Todd Thomas is currently your health officer. His role will change slightly over the next year since the governor has signed the new legislation reference to regulated inspections. That's going to be handled by the fire safety going forward.
Thank
So that will no longer be a forest review, but I'm sure Todd is still working with those cases and everything along. But we still need our health officer.
He loves it.
And we have other duties that fall underneath that, so. He has agreed to serve yet again.
Okay, do I hear a motion regarding it?
I'll make a motion. We appoint Todd Thomas to be the town's health officer. Is that a 1-year position as well?
Yes.
For 1 year?
All right, I have a motion by Don. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Is there any further discussion?
Is it a quick answer to ask what the responsibilities are?
Well, anytime there's a dog bite that ends up at the hospital, the
Yeah.
hospital notifies the town health
Okay.
office to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
So the statutory guidelines for that, that's probably the number one, biggest one.
Or someone did a
There's
slip
other
and,
Stuff like if somebody reports that their neighbor's leach field is filled, does that come going across their lawn?
Yeah.
Start there as well. There are several other quality of life issues and all that.
okay. Or if like their neighbor was burning trash and,
No, that's
No?
a different realm.
Okay.
You know, that's a state violation.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is passed. Next, we have review and select bid for Tegu renovation.
Packet, you'll see a construction proposal from Tegu Building Incorporated. We put the notes out in the newspaper for the renovation upstairs. Site visit for any interested contractors, DBI was the only firm that sent anybody. I met with them today. They've given us a proposal for a two-phase project for the renovation upstairs last fall for budgeting purposes. And then we're all aware of the increase in prices, all other things related to the supply chain. The prices went up, so what they have done is reassess what they are able to accomplish within the budget constraints we have for this fiscal year. And that's the proposal you see in front of you. The total base price of $78,002.60. And that would include creating the window openings, the masonry repairs, which is repointing of the brick, and closing up the 2 windows that are out there. Marble double hung windows, interior window trims, interior trims painting, electrical sub-panel installation, HVAC mini split units, and the equipment rental.
All right, do I hear?
And I missed the beginning of that, Eric. Is this already budgeted? This is an
renovation
increase?
budget, we had a set dollar amount in the budget for it, and because of the increases in prices and other issues that have gone on since Donnie was good enough to give us prices to kind of budget for last fall.
Yeah.
They had revamped the amount of what they were going to include, so they were going to try and look for ductwork,
Oh, that's right.
clean up the ductwork, run some electrical wiring, but they dropped that. Those are subcontractors of theirs, so they pulled those out of their proposal for this year's, just simply installing the second panel box upstairs for anticipation of next year's renovation completion, including the electrical piece.
Okay.
So we can more accurately budget for that this coming fall.
so is there a difference in what we budgeted for and this number, or is it falls within the budget?
It is
$1,000 more than what we had budgeted
Okay.
for.
it's slightly above what we
Okay.
budgeted.
Close.
And then what does it look like for the second phase?
I won't know. I
Okay.
can't, I don't want to commit down
Yeah.
to prices at this point,
Yeah.
so that wants to go before we start doing budget.
Is there like a ballpark? Is this like half of it, or, I mean,
I would say we're a little less than half of what we have here.
Yeah.
And I say that because when you start opening the walls, the mysteries start to unfold in the
Oh,
building.
yeah.
So, it's tough to say what they're gonna find for wiring, what will be needed for replacement wiring. Some wiring has been replaced, and we ran stuff up there to create that space initially, so, but there was a lot of tube wiring in there when they did that work, so. It's hard to say what they're gonna find.
and will this get you into a working situation where you have the separate office spaces and,
What this will allow us to do when they get this phase of the construction completed is to do the personnel swap, as I discussed before, with having Tricia come down with Anna and inhabit what is currently the fiscal office. We have a plan for a divider wall in there, just a basic wall, just to separate those their spaces. And then the finance HR component will move upstairs. We won't have the HR privacy room constructed. That wall, which we hoped to do in phase one, was very costly and was way over our budget for this year. So that'll be put out till next year, so we'll continue to use the conference room here, HR conversations.
All right, do we hear a motion regarding this bid?
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid as proposed by Donnie Blake
To the amount to?
to the amount of $78,002.60
Oh, and have me sign it.
and have Bob Beeman sign.
And it does call for a witness signature as well, so you have to have signed.
Yeah. Okay. I have a motion by Don, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Is there further discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion is passed. Next, approve new hire for street garage.
We had an interview last week with an applicant who, gave a resume that was, right down the alley that we were looking for. Several years working for Walker Construction. Was doing a lot of maintenance for them, and left them to go work for Kingsbury Construction. They've been driving the truck for Kingsbury. Actually has experience driving a dumping truck with a wing plow in parking lots. So, a lot of good stuff there. We have a motion before you with his name, it's Matt Dewey. And he lives on Hyde Park. He did not leave Kingsbury because he didn't like the job. He really enjoyed working for Kingsbury Construction, but they're out of Waitsfield. With the price of gas in his truck, he was spent a lot of money commuting and came to us. We were interested in the position, so.
Is that Tech 2? Tech?
It is a starting off suggestion that in the motion is Tech 1, Step 2. Just simply because the resume gives us information and he talks, I think he was pretty straightforward and honest with us, but through the probationary period and he understands this, we'll go forward with the Tech 1 level. We'll reassess when the 6 months is over to see how he works out. And then, if in fact, what he's given in his resume matches his skills and abilities, we'll discuss the Tech 2 promotion.
Okay. Do you hear a motion?
Yeah, I move we hire Matthew Dewey for a full-time highway department employee as a Tech 1, Step 2 at a rate of $18.75 an hour effective June 27th.
All right, I have a motion by Don, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Is there any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Number 9, discuss submission of town plan.
Added this agenda item in there only to bring the board up to date because Judy is not able to attend the July LCPC meeting. She is going to be out of state family business, and that is the meeting that they were scheduled to discuss as a board our town plan. She, for obvious reasons, really wants to be there for that discussion. Tasha advised in an email stream back and forth with Judy that if the town would like to, they have statutory requirements for addressing our town plans. I believe it's 60 days from the time of submittal. So it wasn't going to be a long period of time to get to the August meeting. She suggested that we withdraw the plan and resubmit, thereby resetting the clock by statute and giving them an extra month, and then they will schedule the town plan discussion for August, and Judy can't be in attendance.
Without any changes.
Correct. Nothing's changed, it was simply
The
a
date.
reset of the clock for statute purposes. Tasha guided us on it, it was an email stream to show the conversations back and forth. So I put in an official request to withdraw on the 14th of June, resubmit on the 15th of June, and it was completed. So they're gonna take it up in their August meeting.
Is Todd okay with that too?
Yeah, but I actually didn't call them for permission or anything like that. It really was it's just a function of scheduling, so there's no changes to it, so.
Right.
No, I didn't go for approval from Todd.
Right, no, I'm not really saying, just wondered what he thought about it,
I didn't have a discussion.
Yeah.
It happened very quickly and it needed to be done quickly, so.
It makes sense.
Just out of curiosity, if we had had another member who was attending regularly, would that have come up as an issue, or?
It probably would still come up as an issue. Judy just followed along with
She
time.
really
Right,
liked it.
yeah.
Very intently.
Right,
Of
course.
And just wanted to absolutely be there for
Yeah.
that meeting.
Mhm.
That's good.
They did work, try and work back and forth on the schedule piece, but it just, there's so many, board members from the
Yeah.
LCPC. Trying to get schedules, I'm sure is a difficult thing, so.
Yeah.
And this just seemed like the easy resolution, just put it out on a month, not gonna hurt, so.
You don't need a motion from
I
us.
do not, it was simply an information piece, I just wanted to have it out there.
Good to know.
I assume the trustees will get the same information.
Yes.
Okay, next, discuss adding Juneteenth as a holiday.
Juneteenth is absolutely today, they're being recognized by the federal government. Celebrations happen over the weekend around the state. It is a federal holiday recognized as such now. And we're seeking approval of the board to add Juneteenth as a recognized federal holiday for the purposes of benefits for the employees of the town.
I make a motion to add Juneteenth as a holiday in Morristown.
I have a motion by Jess. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Don. Is there any further discussion on it?
Does that mean that town offices are, usually that would be holiday for town employees and,
It would,
Yep.
it would be the 12th federal holiday.
Yep.
The town offices would be closed on that day next year.
and it would be a paid holiday?
It would be.
Do you know what that costs, what the cost verifications are with that?
I don't know without doing a calculation on
I
it.
figured you'd have that ready.
Oh,
You're
Sorry.
usually right.
I'm getting ready for an audit, I didn't think of that.
You don't dare to tell us.
Yeah, I don't even know. Probably more than you wanna know, but.
I assume VLCT had a recommendation around this?
No,
No?
didn't hear anything from the LCT. This was simply, we recently adopted a declaration of inclusion. and
Yes.
I thought,
It fits.
it looked pretty bad if we just all through on this one.
Yes, it fits.
I just wondered what it costs. You could.
Yeah, I think that at some point Tina can probably throw figures together for that. You have the, you know, the police officers are working contractually, they make a higher rate of pay on days, holidays that they work. So
Right.
there's some figuring to be done in order to get that dollar figure for you.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. Next, old business. Discuss the noise ordinance.
So the noise ordinance came up before your last meeting, and there was some discussion about the complexity of the language and the change was suggested. So I hand
It's a separate.
So what I did under the letter H, I added the word licensed establishment because I didn't believe parties and other social events really captured, licensed establishment. So I added that to the title on that section. And if you read through the language, this is today that this language was put together, so I'll give you a moment to read through and see what you think.
So the only thing that's changed is what's in red, obviously.
That's correct. That was the one.
Did you see this, Jason?
I did.
What did you think of it?
I'm comfortable with that.
You are.
I think it's a lot more clear,
Mm-hmm.
the language. And then there's a period of time before it goes into effect, is that correct?
That's correct. We have to warn this, we have to, the whole newspaper, 5 places in town, posting it. There is a period of time during which citizens can get a petition together to change it. What your motion tonight will be is to adopt the noise ordinance as amended. And the petition would be such that people would be trying to get you to stop the noise ordinance change. That they have time to do that, 40, 45 days. I think. It's a total of 90 days for posting and warning, because if somebody submits a petition to stop this, Sarah has to warn for a special meeting vote. Yes. She has to have time to get the warning out. And all that.
So do you want a motion tonight?
Yes, please. If your folks are okay with the language, a motion to accept this noise ordinance as amended.
I'm
And then we'll start the posting process tomorrow.
And the rest of the noise ordinance already exists, correct?
That is correct.
So we're just
adopting that.
Just a motion on that one, on the change.
This was really just to adopt to allow for the Friday night and Saturday night extended hours for the local establishments.
So this is the noise ordinance as presented to us tonight, updated.
I'll make a motion that we accept the amendment to the noise ordinance as presented.
All right, I have a motion by Don, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Jess, you're pretty quiet on seconds tonight.
I am? Oh, jeez. Well, I have a question. We
Any
have
further
discussed-
discussion?
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I'm just curious, I don't wanna delay this any further, but, I am curious, if the language means that, parties and other social events can also rage, probably should use that word, be a little louder, between, midnight and 7 AM.
Rage.
So this change isn't really as specific to licensed establishments, this is any
That's correct.
disturbance.
It adds to the Friday night, but
Yeah.
it does mean your dog can bark till midnight.
Mhm.
Because it's under a section that specifically talks about social events, parties, and licensed establishments. So
Okay, it doesn't mean your dog
it does
cannot
not-
do that, yeah,
This does not mean dogs can bark till midnight before complaint.
and people can be yelling.
That's just a singing dog.
Right.
Singing.
Karaoke dog.
Okay.
You never heard Troy's dog sing.
All right, is there any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Next, discuss the sidewalk policy.
So time to take a look at the sidewalk policy as it's been submitted. And thought perhaps it might be easier if the decision on sidewalk material was made by zoning map. So you see that the description that he's given here, sidewalks should be constructed to meet the below requirements in the following zones. So commercial sidewalks in the central business zone, commercial zone, and hospital zone sidewalks shall be, and it goes on to talk about they will be Portland concrete, PSI 4,000 pound. Then he speaks of residential sidewalks, and he uses mixed complex residential, high density residential, medium density residential, and so on. And then regardless if a sidewalk is located in a commercial area or in a residential area, sidewalk replacement, patching, and elongation shall be completed to match the material of the existing sidewalk on the street in question. So you don't have somebody patching a concrete sidewalk with blacktop,
Mhm.
so it's already concrete.
But this is saying that we're not making a delineation between a highly traveled, residential street and a low traffic residential street. Is that the change from our last version?
Right, the last version just spoke
Okay.
to those, the low traffic areas where, the traffic was most likely from the residents in that area. We specifically, we're looking to do some work over in Union Street area, Fourth Street in particular, but in those back neighborhoods back here where there's a lower volume of traffic. The blacktop sidewalk would be perfectly fine and would last probably in length of years as long as the concrete would in a high volume area. So, 25, 30 years for a blacktop sidewalk on the backside streets would not be unheard of. Probably some patching along the way, but I mean, you're just not gonna get the volume of traffic on those side streets back there. And we can get a lot further with our sidewalk budget, using blacktop versus concrete.
Do you need a motion regarding this?
If you want to adopt a sidewalk policy, and policies are not like,
Can't change them.
no, you can't.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you said can change it, sorry.
No, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't change it.
That's correct, yeah. So policies are easier to change than ordinances. Ordinances have statutory guidelines for posting. You folks can change your policy as is needed
Anytime.
when we come on to it, that's correct.
Yeah.
So if we run into a problem as this is described, then we can address that problem with policy change.
Right.
This is also saying that we're going to, separate even if it is a asphalt sidewalk, that it would be, separated by a granite curbing. That's on number 6. I mean, that's an old,
If it's not in red, it's not a change that we
Right.
suggested.
well, I mean, okay, so this this may be in some ways purely an aesthetic concern, but I feel like happy to compromise on the aesthetics of a asphalt sidewalk if I know that we're doing granite curbing. I think, it sounds sort of picky and purely aesthetic, but I think it is important in terms of the look and feel and, really like the home value of our town, what our sidewalks look like.
Sure.
I know it isn't also, I can also see the other side where we would be saving wear and tear on the highway equipment by not having all the concrete, but, so am I correct in assuming or understanding that the asphalt sidewalks would have a granite curbing?
Yep,
Okay.
according to number 6,
Okay.
nothing has changed there.
Because there is asphalt curbing
On
on
Congress Street.
and on Park Street.
Yeah.
Which I think,
That was like a
which is
test.
fine, but
Yeah,
I don't know if
on Congress Street,
all of Congress, not all of
on
Congress.
the left, all the way up Congress Street.
Oh, on the
is-
left? Really?
Yeah, well,
Because
from
the
Cherry
right-
Avenue up to Washington Highway, it is,
It was on the right side.
Yeah, the curbing.
Sorry, I was thinking sidewalk, Bob.
no, curbing.
The curbing, that is,
Curbing.
it is.
It was kind of a test.
It was, it didn't last, it's not
Right.
gonna last.
Yeah.
I see it's getting scarred up and everything,
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
but I think that's why you brought it up too, isn't it, a lot of it?
Well, at I was thinking more Park Street. I hadn't noticed the, yeah.
Look up, go up Congress Street.
Well, I do a lot. I hadn't noticed it though, because the other side is granite.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But I agree anyway, I think it was really nice when we went from concrete curbing, that was 15 years ago or whatever, to the granite. And the granite's just really nice, it's classy,
Yeah,
it's
classy,
stately,
yeah,
it's very nice.
Yeah,
And it lasts a lot longer than concrete does.
yeah.
So it'd be nice to at least have that combination of asphalt and concrete. That's what Stowe has up the mountain road there, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good option.
Agreed.
So does someone have a motion?
I assume Kevin's okay with this?
Yes.
I will make a motion that we accept the Morristown sidewalk policy as presented.
I have a motion by Don and a second by Brian. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
Does that mean, sorry, one more thing. Does that mean the new sidewalk that we approved for the area between Maple Fields and, I forget what street that's called, between.
No, that's concrete.
That's gonna be concrete.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jim's got a lot of it done now. So he's
Well,
got
there-
that part down on Elmore Street.
Maple Fields or Maple Street?
No, between
Maple
Maple Fields, and,
Bishop Marshall?
well, that's part's done, right? But then we approved a piece from Maple Fields towards town.
Correct.
Where we talked about, moving, allowing for the sidewalk to be a little closer to the road because of the silver maples.
Oh, okay,
Is
I
that,
understand.
do you know what I'm talking
So
about?
then,
So will
that
that be,
project you're talking about has been presented, but has not been funded.
okay,
That one will, it'll probably go in front of the taxpayers for
Yeah.
fund for next year because of the price tag on
uh-huh,
it. That would be concrete option, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about the one that we approved for Jim. that Jim started doing already.
Yeah, he actually, Jim finished pouring a sidewalk today, a portion of it with the fire station on Elmore Street, those
Okay.
sidewalks. He poured one continuous length as he did over in the industrial park. He feels pretty comfortable that that's gonna last longer. It'll be easier on the sidewalk machine in the winter time rather than having the individual
Yeah.
pours done. He poured about 50 feet of concrete today. So.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next, approve the warrants. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve them.
I second.
Motion by Brian and a second by Jess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Warrants are passed. TA report, Eric.
I was happy to say I had a phone call with this afternoon. I called Anna McCormick, our new recreation coordinator. Today was day one of the Morristown Summer Recreation Camp. And I don't think there'll be any trouble with her getting to sleep tonight. But she was very pleased with the way things went today. She was very pleased with the group of counselors that were hired. They did very, very well today. A couple couple of them were, got into lifeguard training today, but they still had the right amount of counselors and numbers for kids for a good ratio. They went to Lake Elmore, did some swimming up there, and all's well. So she's very, very excited, looking forward to tomorrow. We had a couple of kids that showed up apprehensive, and they left with a smile, glad that they were there. So, good stuff to report for her. I started with Dennis Smith last week. We're looking to do approximately 1 day a week of the mapping work for the Randolph Cemetery. We're gonna go back on Thursday this week and do a couple more hours worth of work until we get that cemetery mapped out and ready for presentation to the sexton, who we don't have yet. So our most recent candidate has declined the position, so we're back on the search. So. We're going to be doing interviews for the new rescue squad position.
Hi.
Come in, how you doing?
Yeah, sorry for being late.
Yeah, after the first of the year,
Get you
so
late to Hyde Park.
we'll be beginning those interviews this week. 4th of July parade, fireworks, has been some questions on Front Porch Forum about whether Morriston's doing a parade, what they're doing at the fireworks. Whatnot. We are contracted for fireworks on the 4th of July. They will be held on Monday night. There is going to be a parade. Our own Judy has graciously volunteered to take over the registration booth over at the community college parking lot.
Thanks, Judy.
Organize things from over there. It's a very pivotal position. Her skills will come in handy organizing and getting folks straightened out, I'm sure.
Do a good job.
Yes, you will, I'm sure. But I sent Tricia an email today, just looking to see, do an info blast on social media and get the word out. I don't think we've made any posters this year, but we'll get word out to folks so that they can come join us for our fireworks and celebration. And that's all I have for you.
All right, any questions for Eric? Thank you, Eric. Select board concern, Don.
I don't have any concerns. I've just, I did. Eric sent around a video about cannabis,
Yes.
and I did listen to that. And as I was driving up to Newport and back, it took about 2 hours to go through that, and it was interesting to just find out how much the state is taking on. I think it might be safe to say that it's going to be a little different than liquor control. But
I was really hopeful to hear back the feedback from the board. Seriously, yes, this is way different than liquor control. Board, it really can't even be compared.
it is worth
I
listening
need to
to if you haven't
listen
listened
to
to
it,
it.
yeah, okay.
I downloaded it on my phone and I
And you
just listened to
while
it
you're
as I was driving.
That's a
And
good idea.
yeah, it worked out pretty well. A lot of great questions. You were right.
Yeah, there's some great questions. People are still asking about things, but as far as board's enrollment or involvement as a cannabis control commission, which is your local title,
Mhm.
the state has this law written in such detail that the only way to regulate anything in your community is through zoning.
Okay.
You have no purview as a select board.
Mhm.
It's not like liquor control where you can say you're on warning for the next 60 days, blah, blah, blah. None of those provisions exist. It's all completely filled within the zoning bylaws of your community. Their zoning bylaws are pretty good. I think they address concerns about proximity to schools and all that stuff, and where they can be their retail establishments, so there are certain zones in town they can be, and all that. So Todd has a very good handle on that. So I'm not sure I could recommend to the select board that we should form a cannabis control commission. The state board control board will govern any changes that are made. You really have no authority to do anything other than impact this maybe through zoning, but I can tell you they've locked that up pretty tight too.
And because it is through zoning, we really can't treat any cannabis businesses different than
Nope.
other
Yeah.
businesses,
Treated just like the local ice cream park. It's the same, yeah,
with the exception of schools.
correct. So
Yes.
statutory location restrictions.
So there can't be, so that was my one of my big concerns, were if we could put stipulations in place around advertising and signage that hoping to mitigate any signage that would be appealing to kids, cartoony, really big. So you're saying we can't,
That's in there though.
that is in there,
Yeah,
okay.
there's
Yeah.
some pretty strict guidelines on what they can do in
Okay.
trying to entice kids.
Todd is
Okay.
on my phone tonight
Yeah.
through Zoom. Maybe he'll chime in here. There he is.
I'm here.
Todd, what's your take on our current zoning bylaws relative to the advertising, the signage that would be up on a cannabis establishment that might be appealing to children?
Well, I think your take, Eric, like the ice cream parlor is a good metaphor. I guess it's a simile. Thank you. It's really treated the same. So it's a retail establishment. There's two things I've issued permits for so far. I've issued permits for cannabis dispensaries, and I've treated that like a retail use. Retail uses are only allowed in the downtown where you guys are sitting, and in the uptown north end of town. So any retail use, any dispensary is going to be where you in the downtown, or more not likely in the downtown because of the restrictions in the law, but generally in the north end of the town by the grocery stores, by Sears, Price Chopper, Big Lots kind of place. I've permitted one so far. The one I've permitted is on Stafford Ave out the side of Hannaford's. So that's been issued a permit. My impression is that another dispensary is coming in Northgate Plaza, like by Union Bank. There's not a permit needed there because the retail use already exists on that property. So that one doesn't need a permit. I've permitted one manufacturing location. I've permitted a manufacturing location next to Morrisville House of Pizza. And that's what we have in town so far. In regards to signage, I don't have anything that's content specific in signage. Content and signage actually makes me a little worried. Signage is supposed to be content neutral per as a recent Supreme Court ruling in 2016. Basically, you can't interpret a sign in order to enforce it. So I don't have anything in there about advertising to kids. I know there's some parts of the law about that, but that's not something I would tackle in the sign bylaw, especially not under zoning. If we wanted to do a sign ordinance instead, we could do that. But the content in the signs is not a place I would recommend for us to go.
So I have two follow-up questions. One is, could a sign ordinance be specific to cannabis operations, or would it have to be blanket for all retail establishments?
I'd have to look at the law again, and I think your only protections are in the state law. I don't think I can actually write a sign bylaw or really a sign ordinance that goes into the content of the sign. I think that would be illegal. So I don't think I can really do that. So I really can't help you on the zoning side via bylaw or ordinance regarding content. The only help you're going to get is in the state establishing statute for the cannabis.
Could it be, could it be through about the size of the
I
sign?
thought that was already talked to when we had the meeting over at the senior center. They had what the state could do. You can't have inviting signs or anything like that. Matt Lindemer was there that night.
What
Matt
about-
gave us assurance that night that he is not looking for the neon glow. He's not looking for that kind of a attract all eyes effect. He's looking to have it be
Right.
very professional in appearance.
Well, he wasn't allowed to have any signs that were that say whatever, and as well as not allowing anyone under 21 in the store.
Right, and I think, my personal opinion is that the Lamoille County cannabis sign is very classy and, it's not going to attract kids, by its content or its look. But my concern is other businesses coming in. Is that a definite, Todd, like that we can't do anything around even the size or the aesthetic of a cannabis
The
retail
size
sign?
still goes to the
And
same
size-
zoning
Yeah, it's
restriction.
We can regulate, really what we can, when it comes to signage, we can regulate the number of signs and the size of signs.
In the size.
okay.
I can't regulate anything on the sign. The signs could say, for example, I've tried to regulate, there's signs in town that say F Joe Biden or F Trump. Those
Right.
signs are completely valid. We can't regulate any content on there. So
Okay.
we can't get into the aesthetics of it. We can just talk about the number of signs and the size of signs. And that's usually driven by what zone it is. Residential zones get one sign, 6 square feet. Commercial zones get 2 signs, and it depends on the zone. It can be the downtown 75 square feet, the hospital I think is 25 square feet, and the north end of town where the grocery stores are 150 square feet. So that's amongst the 2 signs. You have a 100 square foot facade sign and then a 50 square foot road sign, but we can't regulate the content, only the size and the number.
I think when you listen to that recording in that meeting, you'll see it wasn't mentioned once. It was mentioned probably 10 times through that meeting that we can't treat cannabis any different than any other business.
Yeah, I listened to it. I've heard it all before though, see?
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
So that, I guess that also gets back to the question of, I guess my concern is that in the whole hearing process, I feel like there were a lot of assurances that we would be able to regulate on a local level, and not that it's not, I'm not trying to put fault anywhere, but it seems like a disconnect. And I know some of the concerns that I had, it sounds like we can't regulate around those concerns. My other big question and concern was, and we were, it seemed like we were assured that we could have a say over the proximity of dispensaries and the density in a certain area. This, the number of dispensaries per square mile. And it's unfortunate that it sounds like we can't regulate around that, and that's different than what we were kind of told in the beginning during the whole hearing process.
If it can be regulated by zoning,
Yes.
then it can be regulated. Now,
Yes.
Todd would be the expert on that piece as far as, Todd, is there any way of restricting through a zoning bylaw, for instance, the number of establishments for cannabis retail based on population or square mileage or anything along that line through zoning?
I can't give you a definitive answer off the cuff here. I'd have to look at that. My first inclination is no. I think the statute, I think you have to go back to the statute. The statute, it could have any dispensaries have to be so far from a school, from a daycare, from all different uses. And I think the statute is what's going to control that. I'll have to listen to the webinar myself, but I wouldn't recommend a zoning treatment for it. I think the statute has you covered in that. So I think, Josh, you're talking about what's in the state statute for the cannabis legalization. And for those reasons, you can't locate a dispensary downtown. There's too many daycares, there's too many schools, there's too many child establishments. Only the north end of town is the only part of town that works.
Right, I understand that. I just I can talk to you about it further, but I'm just I'm confused because it sounded in the fact gathering process that we would be able to say, yes, we want to allow retail cannabis in our town, but no, we don't want to have 6 cannabis dispensaries all in that Northgate Plaza zone around Hannaford's. I mean, that doesn't sound, and I feel like if people had thought that was a possibility, the vote may be a little different. So
the only restriction I had in the zoning bylaws regarding numbers and proximities are group homes, and it was you couldn't locate a second group home within 1,000 feet of the first group home. But that was struck down by a lawsuit in the state a couple of years ago as not being legal. So that's been removed. I don't have any other restrictions regarding numbers of stores or the setback distance from one store to another in the zoning bylaw. I think you have to let the market dictate that. I mean, I would like to not think there's a market for 6 cannabis dispensaries in the Northgate Plaza area. I mean, we'll see, I guess, but I don't think I can do that via zoning. I'd have to go back and look at it more, though. I don't want to give you definitive answers off the cuff here.
Okay, next.
We did have, thanks, Bob. We did have, before, a few years back, we had a prohibition on dispensaries and a prohibition on even medical marijuana dispensaries in town. But the legislature, through their process, made that zoning not legal. So we had anti-dispensary language in our zoning bylaw, but that was stripped out by the legislature. We had to delete it. So we are at the whims of the legislature in many ways with this in this area.
Okay,
Didn't mean to open up a can of worms
I
with
knew
my
that was gonna do
concerns,
that.
but,
I'm
you
glad
know,
you brought it
but it's good, and I'll just repeat what I said, it's worth
Worth a
listening to
listen.
it. And there's a lot of information in there. The woman who does the presentation and the fellow that was backing her up they're really, really clear, they're very articulate, and they answer a ton of questions. And I think they're basically addressing what we're talking about right now. I went to another DRB meeting, and sounds like some of our parking issues across the road may be taken care of. And went to a planning council meeting. Put my face in there, so.
good,
So no concerns, just activities.
good. All right, Jess,
I do not have any concerns.
I have
Right.
none.
is Judy listening? She's not up there, is she?
She hasn't been on.
All right, and I'm all set too. So, community concerns. Do you have any community concerns tonight? Hearing none. Other business?
I'd like to make a motion, we go into executive session because I find the premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage. I move that we go into executive session to labor relations agreements with employees subject to T1 VSA Section 313A1B. To include the interim town administrator Eric Dodge, the interim police chief Jason Leno, and the finance director Tina Sweet.
All right. I have a motion by Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are now going into executive session.